Oh yeah? Oh man.
That's why I took some time.
I was like,
No, because I don't have front license plate.
okay.
I don't drive too fast.
Okay, sounds good, man. It's such a nice sound, man. Mwah.
What's up, my friends? Today I'm with my dear client Max Tornow. He has a very special story behind him, and today we are going to talk a little bit about veganism, about blood work, and his story and his transformation is obviously a very good example of how a vegan / vegetarian turns normal, does the transition to normal and healthy eating, and we also obviously did a lot of blood work to support the process. And Max and I today we will talk about this transformation, the adjustment to normal and healthy eating. So Max, tell me a little bit more about you and the viewers. What are you doing? Because Max is a very successful online entrepreneur. He has his own business. But yeah, best is if you just tell what you're doing.
Yep, sure. So I've had my first online coaching business for almost 10 years. Then I transitioned into business consulting, helping other people start and scale their online coaching businesses. I haven't really lived anywhere since 2013, I think. So very busy lifestyle, constantly traveling, always, you know, eating somewhere else, different countries and so on and so forth. I mean, this year alone, we've been to how many countries? 8, 10 or something, 3 different continents and stuff like that. And you've, of course, been a very, very great help. And yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, and maybe one more thing we can talk about, because our lifestyle is pretty much similar. We travel a lot, and there are lots of people out there, they say, oh, it's not possible, I'm traveling, I'm working a lot, I have no time for it, I have no time for nutrition, I have no time for sports. Maybe you tell how actually it's easy if you know what you're doing, if you have a system behind it. So were there any problems actually you coping with anything while traveling all the time? I know even in the last 3 weeks you were in like 3 countries. So tell me and tell the viewers a little bit more about your experience, basically about the coping and about sticking to the system while traveling all the time.
Yeah, so funny enough, and we'll talk about this more later, like it was harder as a vegetarian to deal with it while traveling, because it's really difficult to get to proper protein sources. And then once I transitioned with your help to just eating meat, it became really, really easy. Plus, it's really easy to find good restaurants that offer good high quality steak and stuff like that. And then over time, what happened to me is like I got really good with just knowing what I can eat and how that fits into my macro goals. So it's like a skill that you acquire after like a couple of weeks, that you really know, like, okay, what can I eat, what can't I eat? And I'm a fan, I love going to restaurants, right? I mean, we're in Cyprus right now. We've been for dinner. Last time I was here, it was a really epic dinner. And
big chicken, or what was it?
We had the mother chicken and the baby chicken.
Exactly.
And I remember we showed the girls how to eat snails, and they loved it. And then, you know, they kept talking about, oh, this NIKIBRAH guy is so funny, you know. And we talked about your Rari and all that jazz. And, you know, I love going to dinner everywhere I go. Like, that's, for me, that's part of experiencing the traveling lifestyle. You know, we were in Japan earlier this year. We were in Dubai. We were in Ibiza, Austria, Alps, snowboarding, and so on and so forth. And I love experiencing these different cultures by going to restaurants. So for me, that's always been important, that I don't feel restricted in this. And number one, it was never an issue because your macros are really epic. Like, that's one of my favorite parts, is like the macros that you give me, because they're very doable, very achievable. They're not too crazy. They allow me to still enjoy my freaking life. Plus, the other thing that was really helpful for me is that I always hit the gym. I go to the gym 3 times a week, so it's not even that crazy. You know, 3 times a week is definitely doable. And because I would always hit that, I would always make sure that I get my epic gains, and they would always keep coming, and they keep getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, overall, like, once you're really in that lifestyle, it's almost easier to stick to it than not sticking to it.
Yeah, of course. There's a global saying that if you want to learn something about a country, you go through it through the kitchen. So if you want to learn about the culture, you check out the kitchen, because the kitchen reflects the lifestyle of the culture of the people. Also, you will learn about the history of it. Why are people eating exactly this? So I love I love restaurants, because it's always a nice experience. Like, food is a nice experience, but lots of people out there think eating macros, sticking to macros, being a little bit restrictive with some foods when you go to the supermarket, they think, oh, that's it, that's too restrictive for my lifestyle. But I always say, even crazy regimen like we do, like travel all the time, even then it's doable, even when you don't have your own kitchen. For example, I did not have my own kitchen in years until last week. The last years it was no problem at all. So people think there are limits, but actually, even in the hardest situation, when you're forced to go to restaurants, even then, like, it's easily achievable. So Max, let's talk about maybe the past, your vegan, vegetarian time. Why did you do this, and maybe why you wanted to transfer to normal eating? Maybe what was the trigger? Because I remember Max, he basically joined my coaching exactly the week where you quit being vegetarian. So maybe we should talk about this, because this is most interesting for the people.
For sure, yeah. So I was vegetarian since 2009, from 2009 to last year, to 2022. So almost 13 years, if my math is correct. And I wanted to be a vegetarian back then because I didn't want to be part of a crazy food industry. I saw how, you know, if you buy the cheapest meat at the supermarket, how they can, not saying they do, but how they can treat animals. And that really struck me. And I'm like, I don't want to be part of this. I never had a problem, even while I was a vegetarian, with the idea of, you know, if I were to hunt my own food, I would definitely not be... I wouldn't have a problem with killing an animal and then eating it, because that's natural. But the whole industry behind it, I wasn't okay with that. And that was one of the reasons why I did it. And you know, funny enough, now that I am eating meat again, plus the fact that I'm an entrepreneur and I clearly have the finances, I actually pay even more attention to where my food came from. Because as a vegetarian, the only thing I gave a damn about was, is this meat or not? Right? So I would eat cheap meat replacement products. I would eat, you know, a lot of cottage cheese, which is still an animal product, for example. But I wouldn't really give a damn where it came from. And now I'm like, okay, I'm eating meat, and I eat a lot of meat. I love steak, I love chicken, I love eggs, I love all these animal products. But I literally, for example, here in Cyprus, I have a butcher that I go to. I know exactly where the meat comes from. So I now pay even more attention to it. And then what I really noticed back in last year in 2022 was, I'm like, okay, I've been going to the gym now for almost 10 years, and I really haven't seen much progress in the last 3 to 4 years. And I was hitting the gym consistently 3 to 6 times per week back then. And I feel like, what's happening? I mean, I'm working my ass off in the gym. I don't get any bigger. I'm constantly hungry. I've had huge issues with really crazy cravings. And at the same time, I would always have a little bit of a belly. Like, no matter how low my body fat was, I would always have a belly, and I just never achieved this lean physique. And then towards the end, what really was one of the game changers or game deciding factors was, I felt tired, and I literally felt that my testosterone was lower. So I had a lower sex drive, I had less focus, I couldn't work hard, I was always stressed, I was always tired. And then, funnily enough, the biggest deciding factor for me was a friend of ours, Nathanael, who's a client of yours. And Nathanael was this tiny little guy, for, you know, because that's how I met him. And like, he had a bald head and all that stuff. And then I think that he was like in your program for 6 months, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, his traps, his shoulders. I'm like, damn, even for a guy like this, okay, shit, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna go to NIKIBRAH. And then literally like 3 days before I messaged you, I started eating reindeer meat. I was in the Arctic Circle with my girlfriend. She's Finnish, and I ate some reindeer meat. And then I just looked up the macros, and I was like, it's so easy to just get protein if I just eat meat. Like, I just eat this dried meat, and it's just like pure protein and fat, no carbs, no nothing. And then I contacted you. You helped me with the transition. You helped me with, you know, hey, here's your macros. Here's what you're gonna eat. Here's where you get it from, and so on and so forth. And then what I noticed very, very quickly, and we'll probably talk more about this in a second, was I had much less cravings. Much less cravings. I ate much cleaner, but I had less cravings. And I also looked much leaner instantly. So my dad noticed it first. He's like, wow, you got really lean and really, really big. And then my girlfriend also, she's like, damn, you got a lot leaner. And that's, of course, a very nice thing to hear, you know?
Yeah, so first thing that you said, you don't want to support an industry, and obviously I agree with this, because in any industry, supplement industry, cosmetics, pharma, food industry, any industry has their secrets, has their tricks where they betray their customers, where things are not as clean as they seem. And the same with food industry. Of course, no one supports it. But down the line, you have your own business and you cannot afford to have low focus, low energy, because now Max has been a client for a long time and I know him in person. For example, I arrive here at this villa and I see Max, his working setup is already there. Everything is channeled towards work. He's a hard worker, you know, and it's a pity if a hard worker with their correct mindset and he wants to work and he wants to put in effort, if he does not have the energy from within, because, for example, the testosterone is blocking it, or some other health parameters of your metabolism are blocking it. And for example, when Max came to me, I told him, okay, we need to check blood work, because after 13 years of vegetarianism, there might be some problems. And when Max went out and got blood work for me, we instantly recognized, okay, the testosterone is low, so we need to fix it. So this is where it comes from. So the situation was not that complicated for me, because I know, okay, he has no other problems than this low value of testosterone, because Max, even though 13 years of vegetarianism, he was pretty fit. It's not like you were obese or looked unhealthy, but there were things still, like you said, like a little bit of belly here and there. You can always be a better version of yourself, right? But the other thing is, you can look how you want, but if you cannot perform, if your energy levels are low, I mean, this will transfer to everyday life, to business, to relationship, to your longevity, how old you will get, how many health problems in the future you may get. This will all transfer from your blood situation into real life, basically. So yeah, basically here we have the old values. Of course, I will show them in the video, but of course, everything is documented, that basically your testosterone values went down from 4.82, which is pretty low, and they went up to basically every blood work that we tested, it went up, and then it went to a solid 31. So from 4 to 31 is pretty crazy, you know, but we have everything here on paper and it's documented, and this is the result basically. And maybe you can tell us how is the difference in the feeling, because there's a term that's called hormonal expression. So your hormones, they express something physically and psychologically. I mean, physically, I can show the transformation pictures, then for everyone it will be clear. They will see, oh, Max, he had a nice, already pretty much a good body before, and now he looks phenomenal. But what is not possible to see on transformation pictures is the mental state behind it, how you feel before and after. So maybe we should talk about this a little bit.
For sure. I'd actually like to talk about a quick funny anecdote. So when I got the first blood work done at my doctor, the first one after I had transitioned to your coaching, it was, I think, 2 months after the start of your coaching. I come into my doctor's office, and this doctor knows me my entire life, right?
From Austria.
From Austria, exactly. I come in, and he's seen me, you know, ever since I was a child, like every year or so, you know. And the first thing he does is he looks at me and he's like, "Are you taking steroids?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You're taking steroids. You need to tell me." And I'm like, "I'm not. What? I'm not taking steroids. What the hell?" And he's like, "Okay, well, let's do your blood work." And you know, and I open my arm like this, and he's like, and he grabs the arm, and he's like, "You're taking steroids." I'm not taking any steroids, man. I'm just
traveling.
I'm just traveling, and I'm like having new macros, you know. So that's really funny. And anyways, like one of the biggest things I've really felt was literally, especially for work, like I'm in an intensely high pressure environment. I have a team of over 20 people all around the world. I have to lead a team. I have to manage a team. I have to deal with clients. I have to deal with bullshit. I have to deal with publicity. I have to deal with all these things. And a month or two into your coaching and me changing my nutrition, I really noticed like I'm having so many issues that I still have to work on in my business, but it bothers me much less. Like I still have a stressful lifestyle. I still have to perform. I still have to manage. But it just bothers me much less. I wouldn't freak out mentally as much. I wouldn't have negative thoughts as much. Like I would fall really easily into victim mentality or poor me, and this sucks. Or I would just snap if I was in a stressful situation or on a stressful day. But like a month or two into your coaching, all that changed. I became much more chill, much more relaxed, even though the amount of work was still the same. And that's where I really noticed, I'm like, okay, I'm more relaxed, which means I can make better decisions. I make better decisions, which means I make better results. And even if the shit hits the fan, I'm still very chill. I sleep better. I rest better. Therefore, I can work harder, and I don't need to put in as many hours to get the same work output. At the gym, I also noticed that all of a sudden, all these plateaus that I've never gotten over, I would just hit them. I would hit PRs nonstop every single week. And even like after the gym, back in the days, I would just feel dead as hell after the gym. I would just sit there tired, out of breath. And here, after way crazier gym sessions, I would be in the mirror. I would do shadow box in the mirror. I would feel really fucking fantastic. And then of course, like, you know, for me, the moment I feel better, I put even more work in. So I could make even more money and I would feel even better. And then it's kind of like a downward spiral that I had been in over the last year or two started turning around into an upward spiral, and that was really nice.
Well, there are basically two explanations, two biochemical explanations for this situation. Well, first, your regeneration levels are much better with a higher testosterone rate. I mean, you recover from the trainings, you recover from stress.
Yeah.
Therefore, you can put in more work and you feel better. You have higher energy levels. And second, lots of people think testosterone is a hormone for aggression. So the higher testosterone, the more aggressive you are. Basically, they think about Mike Tyson or whoever.
Yeah.
But, well, it's partially true. But the most important thing about high testosterone levels is confidence. So if you get high testosterone, your level of confidence goes up, which is very important for business, that you make confident decisions, that when shit hits the fan, you don't panic, that you keep calm, that you keep a cool head, and so on. So actually, what most people don't know, testosterone is actually confidence and not aggression or muscle and so on. It's confidence. It gives you inner calmness and confidence. So imagine someone who has low testosterone and high female hormones. What would be the hormonal expression? He'll be like a small girl. Oh, I don't know, I don't like this, but I like this, I don't know what to decide. Like girls, when they go to a restaurant, they never know what they want to order.
Yeah.
This is the hormonal expression. If they would have high testosterone, which we don't want, because at the same time they would have a beard, you know, this is the hormonal expression. That's why it is important for business, when you're a businessman, when you need to undertake decisions, you need to be confident. And when you run a business and you have no confidence and low testosterone, your recovery is bad, you're tired all the time. When you're tired, it's like extra bad decisions.
Yeah.
So it's like a downward spiral, like you say.
Yeah.
So maybe as a last point that we can talk about is well, the future, what you want to, let's say, do in the future, what's left. I mean, there are no limits. Now you feel it, because now you're in an upward spiral. What you want to do next, what are your plans?
So physically, I've actually gotten to a point where I'm like, for the first time in my life, I'm like, I don't even need to get bigger. Like, I'm really happy looks-wise with what my body looks like. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting so much muscle mass and it just keeps growing with like less and less work. Then I'm like, okay, I gotta kind of chill with the muscle mass, because I'm quite short. I don't want to be this super broad guy that is broader than he's short. So now we're doing a cut, and even the cut is like the easiest thing ever. And because like cuts for me used to be hardcore back as a vegetarian. Like being on a cut, I used to be constantly hungry. I mean, I would literally walk down the street, and instead of, you know, looking at beautiful girls, I would literally look at food in like the restaurant. I would like look into the window, like, oh my God, look at this food. And like all these cravings, I don't have those anymore. So that's really interesting. So I can cut much more easily. I feel really fantastic.
But cravings for girls a little bit.
Though, yeah, those are that's all good, you know. And the thing is, like, I just really want to stay the way I am right now. And funnily enough, I feel much better now at 33 than I felt at 25, 26, 28, whatever. I just feel younger. I feel better. So all I want in life now is like stay the way I am right now. Feel even better if it's even possible. I can't even imagine I could feel much better and just keep growing with my business. We want to reach 1 million a month. We're getting really close to it. So that's kind of like all I do right now. And then I have a couple more lists on my a couple more things on my bucket list that I still want to do. And that's heli skiing, which I'm probably going to do this year. Swimming with whales. I've swum with sharks. I haven't swum with whales yet. So I want to live in Hawaii with my girlfriend for 3 to 6 months, and then you know, keep serving the people around me, keep serving my clients, keep serving my family, my mom, my dad, and also, last but not least, I've started telling my dad to hit the gym more. He's 60 years old now.
I saw it.
Yeah. So I'm like constantly like, hey, 3 times a week we gotta hit the gym, and he's even visiting me here in Cyprus at the end of October. So he's gonna go to the gym here with me, and you know, he's 60. He's not gonna get any younger. So I hope I can pass on some inspiration to him as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Max, for your story. It's very inspiring. I'm very proud of the transformation and proud of your good job. Like I said, Max is a very hard worker. It might seem as if it's like complicated with the traveling, and people say, okay, we cannot do this because I don't have a kitchen. No, us both are the example that is possible. And even with all the traveling and running such a high business, within a short period of time, testosterone went up from 4 to 31. So yeah, and you see Max is an excellent example of not only the physical part but also the mental part, that you can transfer basically your health into hard work and successful business. So yeah guys, thanks for watching, thanks Max, and see you in the next video.